Let's take a few moments to think together about the question, why do primary sources help all students learn? There are at least 3 qualities that make primary sources a unique source of learning for our students. These qualities are rigor, relevance, and access. Primary sources increase rigor because of the effort required to make meaning from these pieces of history. Qualities that increase rigor or challenge are that primary sources have multiple meanings and may include pieces of information that contain conflicted information. The past is constantly being interpreted in new ways as new discoveries are made. So primary sources may support multiple and novel interpretations. Primary sources demand investigation of themselves as an artifact and then an investigation of a larger context to understand the meaning and possible significance of the source. Situating a primary source within a larger context requires the use of background knowledge and academic vocabulary. Because there is no one correct answer, students are required to justify their thinking and to use their knowledge and experiences to develop a unique interpretation of the primary source. Primary sources are also related to multiple subjects. Our experiences in life are not exactly neatly divided into subject areas such as science and math and music. Rather, our experiences are usually related in some ways to many subjects. Since primary sources are fragments from life, the sources usually relate to many subjects too. Learners may use their expertise in a particular subject to interpret the source, and they may see details in a primary source related to a specific subject. The same source may be referred to across many different subjects at school. Primary sources require reflection and making connections. Learners can refer back to the same primary sources so many times, and each time find a new discovery. Just one quick glance at a source won't be enough for a learner. Learners will need to revisit and think about what they see in a primary source. This thinking process encourages learners to reflect on their understanding of a topic and to make connections between their knowledge and their experiences. As a teaching material, primary sources also increase relevance for students. Primary sources are literally fragments of life, so they connect to our personal experiences. Learners relate to primary sources on a variety of levels. Perhaps the relationship is as simple as the learner has taken a picture or written a letter before. Maybe the learner has visited the place or the location where the primary source was created. Or the source may connect with the learner's background knowledge about the subject or time period. The first impulse that a learner has when looking at a primary source is to connect to their own previous experiences. Making connections to previous knowledge and experiences is one of the most important factors of successful learning. Primary sources also raise curiosity. Whether the source is a picture, a letter, a map, a sound recording, or an oral history, the source does not come to the learner with an interpretation. Primary sources inspire questions such as, what is this? What is it made of? What might this tell me? Primary sources are real mysteries that learners with all levels of experience can solve. Finally, primary sources are accessible to students with a wide range of interests, strengths, and learning needs. First, primary sources provide a concrete image to look at and refer to. Learners can point to the evidence that they see in the primary source. Students may be inspired by primary sources to learn more. Many students go on to learn more through reading and research, and then they may return to that same primary source to use their new knowledge to see even more details in the source. Primary sources also come in many different formats that contain multiple levels of complexity, considering the written words as well as the needed background knowledge and vocabulary to understand the source. Primary sources can easily be modified in a digital format to add supports and extensions. You can use drawing tools to highlight portions of a source that students may need to recognize. Digital sources can also be enlarged or cropped for students to focus on just a piece and look closely at part of an image prior to considering the whole source. Primary sources help students learn by increasing the rigor, relevance, and access in our daily lessons. After finding a primary source to share with students, you can use the Zoom-in thinking routine to support student learning.